Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the 4th episode of Beyond Survival on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. On each episode, my guests will talk about a situation they had to overcome. How did they get through it? What kept them going? What lessons do they have to share with the rest of the world? And what is it inside of them that enables them to do more than just survive despite their less than ideal circumstances? My special guest today is Greg Reynolds, who is a staff sergeant in the Army. In 2008, before his second deployment, he was riding his motorcycle, and as fate would have it, a driver pulled out in front of him and he crashed. This catastrophic accident left Greg needing 101 units of blood, in a coma for 6 weeks, and a 4-quarter amputee, which means he's missing his entire left arm, including the clavicle. It is truly a miracle that he is still here, as he was given a 1 in 2,000 chance of survival. So can you imagine being a 24-year-old in the military, just riding your motorcycle, you're about to leave for your second deployment, and all of a sudden you wake up 6 weeks later, you don't know where you are, you have no idea what happened, you have a traumatic brain injury, and you have no arm. So that's exactly what happened to Greg 18 years ago. But today, Greg Reynolds is a decorated combat veteran, speaker, athlete, amputee, and Guinness World Record holder. He is an original member of the Wounded Warrior amputee softball team, which is now called USA Patriots. Greg has become a positive influence for a lot of people, especially those that are amputees. Greg will discuss his accident in 2008 and how he transitioned from that life-altering experience to becoming a beacon of hope for those with limb loss today. So with that being said, I would love to welcome Greg to the show.
Thanks,
Hi, Greg.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
How are you?
Good.
All right. So to kick off the show, I think the best thing we should do is, can you just explain to the viewers, tell us more about what happened that fateful day in 2008.
All right, so here we are in 2008. It was a really nice day, June 22nd. I remember a friend was home from his deployment, and we decided to go to a car and motorcycle show at Coal State Park.
I can't hear him.
And it's one of those things where you have the day planned. It was nice, and we met at the park. It's going really well. We're enjoying the day, and then we see off in the distance storms coming in, like thunderstorms, and I hate riding in the rain. So I said, hey, Josh, you guys want to head out now? And we all agreed that now is the time to leave. So we left the park, and on the way home, there was intersection we were at, and the light was red, and we're stopped, and I look over at Josh. I say, hey man, good luck on your next deployment. And I was getting ready to go, and had a great day with you, and just have a good day. And the light turned green, and we left, and I was in the middle. I was by the double yellow, and they were to my right. They were getting on the highway on 195 heading towards Providence. And I was staying straight towards Davis Street, Rehoboth. And I don't remember anything. From what I'm told, there was a driver who pulled right out in front of me when I had the right of way. And in 3 seconds, I went from being in control of my life to fighting for my life. For what I'm told, the scene was pretty graphic. I had talked to Josh, several months later, and he had said when they were getting on the on-ramp, he heard the smash, and he looked back, and he was like, "Oh no!" And he came back to the scene really fast, and he took pictures with his phone, and they were just devastated by what they saw. Luckily for me, there was an ambulance right at the major intersection we just went through, sitting in the McDonald's parking lot, and they were on scene within 2 minutes, which proved tremendous for me because, from what I'm told, my arm was practically ripped off, and my subclavian artery was severed, and I was bleeding to death. And the head paramedic had a lot of years of experience. And he's a firefighter, so he didn't get um, kind of like out of zone, like he was locked in. He was doing what he had to do, and they scooped me up from an ambulance, and they rushed me to the trauma center, Rhode Island Trauma Center, and it was pretty. Like I said, I keep saying it's pretty graphic. So having talked to the paramedic that a year after my recovery, he was telling me that he actually was giving me a cardiac massage through my chest cavity. I had lost nearly all my blood. They were pumping me full of saline. It was just very, very horrific. And they typically say that when you're in that type of dire situation, that no one ever survives that type of trauma. Well, luckily for me, I was in the best shape of my life, both mentally and physically, especially prior to my second deployment. And another good positive outcome of that day was the trauma surgeon was in the hospital. He didn't have to get paid to come in, so they immediately rushed me into surgery, where they started to perform life-saving operations. And in the first 4 hours of operation, I took 36 units of blood, and then that number quickly changed to 101 units of blood and blood products. So to be here today, to talk to you today, to be in this interview today is so far beyond the medical community's expectations, because as I sit here today to talk to you, this outcome, to talk, to understand, and to live the life that I do was not on the horizon at all. If there was anything, it's going to be very bleak and meek survival. And today I'm just very grateful and happy to be here and take part in this conversation to share with you and your audience.
Yeah, I feel like this special bond with people like you because I too am not supposed to be here. I feel like we're in this club or whatever that it really changes you who you are as a person when you know that this is your second chance, right? Life is very different the second time around. Um, how long was your not mental, because that takes a long time, but how long was your physical recovery? Like how long were you in the hospital for all this?
So basically in the hospital just under 4 months, which was also another positive thing for me,
Mm-hmm.
because having been in that shape that I was in allowed for a faster recovery time. And as you get to find out today in the interview, that I'm very goal orientated. So whatever they told me to do that I could do every day, I was working on those things to get out of the hospital as fast as I could, even though I was um, uh, very challenged as far as moving around and doing those type of things.
Did you ever find out what happened to the driver?
Um, no, but here's a little backstory so the driver was unhurt. He basically, the woman behind him said she saw me coming, does not know why he pulled out. We speculate that very common in the motorcycle community, where someone's at a stop sign or a red light, they look left and they look right and they never look left again. If that person looks left again, they see the motorcycle they didn't see prior. And we believe that he never looked left again. And if he did, he would have saw me, but he pulled right out in front of me. No injuries to him. I took the brunt of it. And as far as I know, when I got home from the hospital, this was June 22nd, 2008. when I got home from the hospital, I was so distraught and so angry and frustrated to know that another gentleman, and this guy was a veteran too. So the irony of the whole thing is he was a Marine veteran from Korea, and then I was Iraq War veteran, and the name of the street we were on was James Reynolds Road. His name is James. My last name is Reynolds. You cannot make this up. It's
Yeah.
very, it's full of the story is full of our irony. Um, so I helped. Well, my mom helped me write a pen, a Christmas letter to him, and even though I couldn't really write at the time, I was doing like chicken scratch, and I said, dear Santa, like to him, but I'm writing to Santa Claus because I was very depressed, and I said, dear Santa, I served my country, helped those in need, and something was taken from me without my permission. All I would like this Christmas is my whole left arm and my life back. Please help me. And then I wrote that. I wrote it to James, and I sent it to him. God only knows if he got that, but so that was the first one. And the second one I wrote in January 2010 to him when I'm in a much better place physically and mentally. And I penned a letter to him for my recovery. And I was just talking about, I pretty much forgave him for what he did, and that was very healing to me. And also in that it gave him an opportunity to apologize to me, which would have been huge in my recovery, but that never happened. So I only wrote him 2 times, and I never ever heard from him again. Ever heard from him.
Yeah. I would imagine it might be difficult for him to respond to you, but I definitely know that it probably would have felt nice to get that closure, so to speak, from his end. But sometimes we have to get our own closure our own way, unfortunately. Um, when you first got hurt, I think accidents, like catastrophic accidents like that, the only focus at that moment of time is keeping you alive, right? So it's about your survival and nothing else. And then that period of time passes, and now you will survive, and now it's like now you have to think about the rest of your life, and it's like, how am I going to live like this? Am I going to be able to have a life? Like, what were you thinking at this phase in your healing journey, especially knowing that you could no longer be in the military? I mean, you loved it. You're 24 years old. Like, what was your frame of mind at that time?
So am I presuming that I'm out of the hospital at this point, or am I still like though this
Let's say
question?
out of the hospital.
Okay, out of the hospital in recovery, because my recovery, I was still doing PT, OT, and speech therapy 3 days a week
Hmm.
for well over a year to into 2 year mark. So to particularly answer this question, it was very like it was so hard to know that my life is completely changed forever, and the lifestyle that I was building for myself is no longer attainable to the level that I would like. So I would say that I started to think about like what my life looked like. Would I get a girlfriend again? Like, could I physically work? Could I make a living? Those type of things were ruminating in my head, and but what helped me during that time is basically like small steps in my recovery. So I wasn't thinking forward that far. I was thinking, okay, what do I need to do to graduate PT? What do I need to do to graduate occupational therapy? Because at this point, my hand like was still not really working because I just had a really bad nerve injury and I couldn't feel my fingers, and there was multiple other injuries that I was still dealing with. So yeah, I thought my life was over. I thought like, why do I feel so terrible? Like, what's this feeling? What's this dark cloud over me? Is it depression? And that was depression, which I never knew what depression was because I was so blessed to live a life where it was full of accomplishment and always climbing the ladder of success, and everything was going the way I wanted it to because I worked very hard. And here I am now, 24 years old, like struggling to go to my recovery and to figure out why this happened to me. And I was stuck in that place for a while, and then through years of therapy and just trying to make uh, me understand this whole process, um, through hard work and everything, I realized, like, you know, my life isn't over. And I do remember a particular point in my recovery earlier on. I never cried so much in my life, and I just didn't want to live anymore. And I was I would think I was suicidal. I thought my life was done and there was nothing worth living for. And I didn't want to live like this. And so my mom made me a promise one night. She said, "Greg, please give yourself 1 year from today, and if you still feel like this was December 2008, by the way. So June was the accident. This was December, and she said this to me, and I was like, holy smokes, does she see something that I don't? I think basically she was saying, if you still feel this way in a year, I'll take you out of your misery. So my own mom saw something that I didn't, because I was so entrenched in this depression hole. I was heavily medicated. I was on a bunch of meds for phantom limb pain, TBI, a bunch of things, and that probably had some effect on my emotion and brain and all that. So, um, so correct. I did not see a way out until she said this to me, and at that point, it was okay. Small steps, walk outside, get the mail from the mailbox, come in the house. After that, I was like, okay, go down to the stop sign, turn around. And like, as I got stronger, you know, the better I was, the more my old self I was, and like, I'm coming back. So I realized the whole military was out. I didn't want to be in the military. I got a chance to go to the review board, but I was still in recovery a year later. I'm like, I don't want to mess with this. I said, just yeah, I don't want that. It's not for me. And I pretty much moved beyond that to just focus on my new normal, and that is being an upper extremity amputee, and just focus on being who I am now and just be the best version of that. And along that way, I'll find happiness again. And I stuck to the program, stuck to therapy, and I did, you know, veteran amputee camps. Like the VA has really good programs for adaptive athletes and different camps to show you that you can still do things. That was all very helpful. And it showed me, like, you can do more, and this is the light. You can do all this stuff. You're not limited by the amputation. So I don't know if I'm getting off of your question. Did I answer your question to that point?
Yeah, you answered it. Um, I was thinking, while you were talking about like how all this stuff happening in the dark place that you came from, and just how you turn it around, right? I only know this Greg, right? So I don't know the one before. And like you said, making lemonade, right? You were given a big old bowl of lemons, and somehow you made lemonade out of it and have become an inspiration to so many people. Can you talk to the viewers about Making Lemonade and the USA Patriots organization, especially the kids camp, which I think is like amazing?
Sure. So, having gone through my injury and all these other opportunities I've had, um, the first thing was to graduate college. And once I graduated college, ironically, I got asked to give the commencement speech, and I was like, okay, I didn't really want to do it, but then, my mom was like, okay, I can help you. We can draft something up, and we'll submit it. And then I got selected to give the speech, and I spoke so well and did so good at graduation that people were reaching out to me to share my story, to help inspire groups they were associated with. And then out of that need, Making Lemonade was formed, which just progressed into so much more than speaking. It's turned into, like, advocating what, Veterans Day is, what is exactly Memorial Day. And, so talking to different groups, schools, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, anybody that wants a story of inspiration and resilience and to never quit. So then everyone's heard the old adage, "One life, hands are lemons." You squeeze and you make lemonade, and I know a lot of good drinks that you can make with lemons and lemon juice. So stick around if you want some really good. So Making Lemonade was born, and if you can see the lemon here, he's got a band-aid on his left side, and he's almost operation. This one's swinging a golf club, but essentially, a lot of things in life happen to us outside of our control, and the one thing that we all can control is our attitude. And Making Lemonade is a positive attitude to life, and so when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade. So Making Lemonade was established to promote and inspire a positive and active lifestyle, which can pertain to a number of life's events. And when life hands you lemons, make lemonade. It's your choice, and I cannot say that enough to my audiences, because I know so many people that they're like, oh, I don't know how to be positive. I don't know how to do this, but it's a choice. It's a choice to be positive, and when you are positive and negative outcomes, everything changes dramatically, and the light bulb goes off, and you're like, you know what? I'm in a bad situation. Well, you know what? It's not that bad because I have 3 limbs out of 4. I still have one good arm, so you always got to find that positive, carry you forward. So Making Lemonade was born in that idea, and we're still kicking. And why bring the message of courage, hope, and inspiration to audiences that need it and need to see it real time. And you see it with me, especially playing softball on the golf course, or just having a conversation at dinner time, and I'm having a struggle cutting my steak. So I figure out, hey, you know what? Let me ask for help. And so, hey, can you cut my steak? So that's just how it is. So I don't get upset or frustrated. I just find a way to win, and that all comes back to Making Lemonade and its whole premise. So that's Making Lemonade. Now, back in 2011, I got a call to come out to a camp for T veterans in University of Arizona, which was a softball camp. And I played baseball my whole life, and I was like, oh, you know what? I would love to come to this camp. So I used to catch with my left, throw with my right. So I got with a trainer to learn to catch all over again, and then how to hit with one arm. So I did all that, and I went out to Arizona, and it was such an amazing camp. It was the first time in my life I'm around veterans that are all amputees, legs and arms. And prior to getting hurt, I never even seen an arm amputee. I've seen leg amputees, but I've never seen an arm amputee. So now I'm around other arm guys, and it's like, okay, how do you do this? How do you do that? Boom. And that was such a successful camp that a team was born. The Wounded Warrior Amputee Softball team was born in 2011, and we're into our 15th season now, and it's been such a tremendous part of my healing and my emotional well-being, and just giving back, being part of a team again, sharing the camaraderie. And so for the first 2 years, we traveled the country playing able-bodied teams and men's pitch softball, all amputees versus able-bodied teams, and we win like 90% of the time, so it's pretty impressive. Now, that was going so well, someone thought like, hey, every city we went to, there was a local amputee from the children's hospital who we would reach out to, say, hey, do you have any children that would want to come out and be a bat boy or a bat girl for our team, to be around other amputees that are doing things that are, a positive influence to everyone watching. And everywhere we went, we always had a bat boy or a bat girl that was an amputee, and we saw like the impact it had on those kids. So we thought, why not have a kids camp? And that was the first year it was born. I think it was 2012 or 13. We had our first camp, and it was magical. There was 20 kids between the age of 8 to 12, and they were missing legs, arms. They missed something, and for the first time in their life, those kids are around other kids and adults, wounded veterans that are missing limbs too, and it's so magical to see those kids. They show up with sweatshirts on, hiding their arm, pants hiding their leg. It's hot, summertime. You're uncomfortable wearing those clothes. So then they see that it's okay to be missing a limb, and then they're in the pool the next day with all the kids swimming, having a good time. They're playing softball. They realize there's nothing wrong with being an amputee, and it's quite okay. And we teach them. It's a softball camp, but we teach them more than that. It's like, okay, this is how you live life. Your life is going to go on. You just got to find ways to get through the adversity and win. And this is how you win, and we show them. And one of the things I do is I teach the kids missing their arms how to tie their shoes one-handed. And when they do that, they realize they don't need mommy and daddy anymore, and that's a huge boost of confidence for them. Now they can go on the sleepovers, they can go to the camps, and they don't need mom and dad to tie their shoes. So it's pretty magical.
Yeah. So, on that same topic, because I didn't know this existed, but this month, April, is Limb Loss and Limb Difference Awareness Month. What do you want the viewers to know about this awareness cause?
So let me think about that. So I think that, when you see someone with limb difference or limb loss, like that person, whether they were born like that, but as I'm learning too, a lot of it's traumatic injuries,
Mm-hmm.
like cancer, work injuries, accidents, things like that. I want the audience to know that we're all human. We're the same person, and if you see someone struggling, it's okay to offer them a hand. Hey, do you need a hand with that? You want help carrying it? Like, it's totally okay. And there's nothing. We're all human. We all have the same emotions. So just be kind, offer a hand, and be friendly, and to know that person. Maybe that person was once bold, and they don't know. Now they struggle with self-image. I know I did for a while. Like, when I first came home, I didn't know how to wear a sweatshirt. I don't really want to know I was missing my arm. I was so confident in who I was before I got hurt. Now I'm missing a fifth of my body. So like, the confidence I used to have, it's like, I mean, I'm better now, but in the beginning, it was very hard for me to go out in public, and I'd see people looking at me, and I'd feel like terrible. What are they thinking, or this or that? So I would just encourage the audience to just be kind and smile, and just be very mindful of the fact that, you know, even though we look like we're missing an arm or a hand, we can still do things just as good as you, if not sometimes better. But we're the same as you. Like, we're the same as you. Just don't treat us any different, and offer a hand and be kind. That's all I have to say about pretty much about
Yeah,
that.
I think that's important because oftentimes, like, my husband is a disabled veteran too. He's a quadriplegic in a wheelchair. And I'm not saying this in a negative way. People just don't know how to act around people that have injuries. They're nervous that they're going to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. So that's why these awareness months and having these conversations like this are so important. Like you said, hey, help somebody, versus someone that's like, oh, I'm too afraid to help them. Maybe they'll get offended or whatever. So thank you for that. That's why I specifically brought that question up. You have been all over the news, Netflix, the Discovery Channel, HBO Sports, Brian Gumbel, the list goes on and on. So your mother wrote a screenplay, which I thought was pretty impressive. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So in the beginning, when I was hurt, the biggest thing was for me to recover and get out and, you know, finish college, get a degree. And, people were saying like, Greg, you have such a great story. You should write a book. And then the book turned into, oh, you know what? Wow, that really happened. You went to war and you got hurt and you came home and you survived. That's a crazy story. Like, there should be a movie made on you. And then, my mom would be saying, Greg, it sounds good to write a book or make a movie, but you have to do something first. You have to do something noteworthy of having a movie or a book. And she's like, finish college first. okay, then go on to do some other stuff. And so that was the goal. Finish college. Like I just telling you, I finished college. I gave the commencement speech. I started a company. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm playing on the Wounded Warrior Anthony softball team now, beating the old body teams. I've gone on to, break a Guinness World Record, one arm push-ups, 40 pounds on my back. I've gone on to do so much the Paralympics. Um, I've done here I am sitting on a park bench telling my story, very similar to Forrest Gump. And that's with all that stuff happening. Then my mom's like, you know what? She educated herself on how to write a screenplay, and she ended up writing a very good screenplay. And we've met producers, directors, and we're just working with them to see uh, what needs to be changed in the script, what they recommend, how can it be better, how can we get it to Sylvester Stallone, those type of. So we're at that point now where it has such a very good screenplay. We just need to get it into the right hands or meet the right person to help us move it forward. So that's how the whole screenplay came about. Was Greg, you need to do something noteworthy, and I ended up doing, like I said, I graduated, I did this, I did that, I did this, and it's like the list goes on. It's a very, very long, accomplished list, and so that's how the screenplay came out. And if anyone knows anybody in the film industry, we're looking for help to move this along so I can share my story of courage, hope, and inspiration to everyone that could use it.
I hope someone out there knows somebody so you can make that happen. I think it's very underestimated how much people need inspiration. Everybody's going through things in their daily lives. It might not be so severe as losing a limb, but when and I noticed this with my story too, like people are saying, I'm upset about XYZ. And then I see your story and I say, I should actually be more thankful for a lot in my life, and they're like, or I use you as inspiration or your story. So, and it keeps other people motivated. They're like, look at all that he's been through and he's still accomplishing. If he can do it, I can do it. I think that's the biggest thing about stories like this, documentaries, interviews, because that's a feedback I get all the time from people that message me, like, if you can do it, I can. And you're saying the same thing. Like your interview that I watched, you were like, when life pushes you down, you push up. That's your quote, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And that can go for anybody in any situation. It doesn't have to necessarily be related to a limb loss. Anyone, when life pushes you down, push up and keep going, no matter what it is. So you were talking about earlier the street, the John Reynolds and all of that. So I just have to ask this question because I think about this too, listening to other people's stories of my own situation. But, I believe the universe works in mysterious ways. How? I don't know. But when me and you were talking, you were saying, I would expect something like this to happen to me during a deployment, not riding a motorcycle accident, not in a motorcycle accident, right? So do you think there's like a deeper plan from the universe for your life and this is why this happened, or this was just a simple coincidence that this accident happened?
That's a really good question. Where I am now, in my post recovery, and how I'm in good mental state, and looking at the whole scenario of what happened to me. Like you take the war, what I experienced in war, then I come home and I get hurt, and then this whole life experience. I'm very, just like I said over and over again, I'm very grateful that I'm still here, for one. Secondly, I think that there really is no coincidence. I think that we all have our own journey that we're going to be walking. I feel that, if I wasn't preparing for my second deployment, getting strong, I mean, when I say strong, I mean, I was benching 315, I was lifting really heavy, and I think that's part of like the PTSD that I had for whatever reason. But the bigger picture was,
Oh, I think we lost Greg. I I guess we'll just wait a second to see if we can get him back. So this is his Facebook page, Makin Lemonade, and then his website. And then he's also affiliated with the USA Patriots in that summer camp that he was talking about. He sent me some videos of things that they do with the summer camp with the children, and it's actually very, very impressive. And you know, and one of the things he was saying to me and saying to the people at the camp, like whatever your limitation may be, he was saying this at the beginning of camp, it won't be a limitation for long, because once you get to our camp and get with our coaches, we'll show you how you can get through any obstacle that you face. So he really takes care of the people that he works with, whether that's like, you know, helping a child learn how to tie a shoe, to helping people understand how prosthetic works, like the whole 9 yards. Greg is involved. So I think we're coming to a close, so I'm hoping he'll be able to come back. But I think his story is definitely one of inspiration, and I find it's very hard for people that are young to overcome something like this. But I think he did a complete 180 from being so depressed to giving hope to other people all over the world, not just children, people that are, you know, going through something difficult. So this is my Facebook, my Instagram. Sorry, I have so many pages. My Instagram, and you can see all of my videos and postings like that. I've been posting in my link tree, so you can see all of my news articles. If you need to reach me, I mean, Linktree is the best way because it literally has everything. It has some important stories on the top, and then it just goes into all my social media accounts, which is a lot. So yeah, you can see all my social media accounts. My accounts are very big on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Those are probably my 3 biggest places. So, oh, he's back.
I can't hear you. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Take this real quick.
Just wait another second, and then I'm just gonna close out the show. What a story! This guy is a beast. Yes, he is. to do the Guinness Book of World Records, I said to him, "How do you know that you can do so many push-ups with a 40-pound pack on your back? Like, what do you do? Do you call Guinness Book of World Records and say, "Oh, I've been practicing one-arm push-up with this thing on my back"?" It's a pretty interesting story how he did the Guinness Book of World Records, but I got to saw that footage, so it's pretty cool. So
Hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you, but we're towards the end of the show, so I'm gonna have to close it out. But I wanted to ask you, is the final question, the most important question. I end every episode with a message of hope. So can you give viewers a message of hope that no matter what they're going through, they can still find a way to carry on? I mean, you have. So what advice would you give to anybody in a situation like yours, or just going through a difficult situation in general, like when they need those moments of inspiration? What can you advise?
Okay, I can advise. Can you hear me, right? You can hear me now?
Yes,
That sound?
we hear you.
Okay. You always work through those technical difficulties and never give up. Push forward. That's one of the big things today. So the message that I'm going to share is that, you know, no matter what you face in life, you never are the fight. Stay in it. I like to use the acronym ARM. The visual cue will hopefully allow you to remember it. It stands for attitude, resilience, and mental toughness. As you heard me talk about earlier, attitude is a big part of how we view things and how life happens to us, and we choose how we process that situation. So attitude is a big part of it. Always try to find the positive. I cannot stress that enough. Resilience, right? Be resilient. When life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Be resilient. Think about it to be bent, stretched, pushed to the limit. Stay buoyant. Keep your head above water. Keep fighting. Never give up. Mental toughness. I like to call it, being from New England, I use Tom Brady for an example. No matter what, when he's down, it's fourth quarter, 2 minutes, he stays locked in. He's got boom, he's locked in. He stays mentally tough. Nothing's going to distract him. He stays calm, cool headed, and pushes towards the objective. And that objective is to win. Win at life, win at whatever that adversity you fight, whatever adversity you face, win. Do what's best for you at all times. And that's always the biggest thing to remember is there's a lot of bad things that happen in life, but the one thing we all control is our attitude and how you respond to that. So I encourage everyone today watching the show who's going to watch it today and then watch it going forward. You have to make a choice to do that. You have to make a choice to find the positive. You're either the victor or you're the victim. I encourage you to be the victor. And that's what I have to say.
Yeah, that was well said. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. So I'm just going to close out the show now and say, if anybody wants any more information about limb loss or Greg, you can reach out to Makin Lemonade, USA Patriots. And just as a reminder, this month is Limb Loss Awareness Month. I did not know that existed until now, but thank you for being a part of the show and giving viewers hope. That's the whole point of Beyond Survival, is that you're doing more than just surviving. You're not hanging around feeling sorry for yourself, that you've made something of your life, that you've turned your circumstances around, and you've done just that and been a beacon of hope for so many others. So thank you, everyone, and I will see you next month.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Talia Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram-Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
How much of your value have you been giving away? Saying yes when the answer should have been no? Lowering your price to secure the opportunity? Giving more while receiving less? Over time, it adds up. Until one moment brings clarity, you've been giving away your value. This is not about working harder. This is not about doing more. It's about boundaries. It's about pricing. It's about respect. From Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck comes a direct and necessary message. Stop over-delivering. Stop underpricing your expertise. Stop negotiating against yourself. Because when you recognize your value, everything changes. Stop giving away your value. Boundaries, pricing, and the business of respect. Available now wherever fine books are sold and on Amazon. A film by USA Global TV and Radio. Executive producer Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Videographer and cinematic production Paul Garcia. Voiceover by Ed Wargas. Stop giving it away. Start owning it.
In a quiet seaside town in Greece, where sunlight warms the stone paths and the sea whispers nearby, a new adventure begins. Lady Ella and her brother Lord Jack have arrived with an important mission: to teach kindness, patience, and the power of listening. In a hidden alley, a group of forgotten cats feel unseen and unheard, lost in silence and growing misunderstandings, until someone finally takes the time to truly listen. Because when we listen from the heart, loneliness softens, kindness grows, and new friendships begin. This is Book 10 of The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor book series. Find all Dr. Kerbeck's books on Amazon and in fine bookstores worldwide.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.